Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerdpocalypse Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys. We are back. Terrence is unfortunately out this week. We got plenty and checked out and plenty to talk about, so we're going to jump right in. I've been watching Squid Game Season 2 or Squid Game 2. I'm not quite done. I think I'm like more than halfway through the season. It's really good. And it makes me weep for humanity's future. If you were like, what is wrong with people in the first season? That is really doubled down and reinforced in the second season. And actually, I think better ways. I like that while they do the same first game as they did, the red light, green light game, they do not follow the same pattern with the games in the second season. So you're like, oh, we know what's coming next. Like, no, you don't. You really don't. And there's one episode with this game. I won't give away what the game is exactly, but it's like a series of like mini games, right? It's like a Mario Party type of thing. And it is the most happy-go-lucky episode. It's like the teams are working together to get it through. And then you're just like brutally reminded that if they don't make it through this in a certain like 4 minutes, then they just get gunned down. And they do, like multiple teams do. And it's just, they do a really good job. You're like, yeah, they're going to make it. And then it's like the team makes it, but there's like also another team going at the same time. And then you just hear gunfire. And then the other team turns around and they're like, oh, right. And then there's like a pool of blood and all these different that show is really, really good. There is an element to this new season that is really fucked up in the best of ways. Again, I don't want to give it away, but it's really good. They're doing a really good job keeping my interest again in the second season. Because I was like, am I going to watch the second season? I really like the first one, maybe. And then I started watching. I was like, all right, like I'm back in. Like much like the first season, the first episode, there are no games, right? They're just getting you acclimated to the world in South Korea, and then he ends up the same main character. He gets back into the game. Back on the island. So he is obviously the only person who knows anything about the games. Well, more or less the only person who knows about the games who's there. And so then it's a whole new crop of people. And, you know, there's some similar personalities to personalities in the first season, but there's also some new sort of variations on certain themes. But like human beings make bad choices, like really bad short-term choices. It's like, stop doing that, right?
Yeah.
Surely if we play, like, okay, this isn't much of it's a bit of a spoiler, but it doesn't change a lot, like you knowing this going in. You know how in the middle of the game, or the middle of the season, they gave them that one chance? They were like, you can vote to go home, right? If enough people vote, the majority votes, we'll end the game and let you go home. And they do, and then everybody kind of gets suckered back to go back to the island, right? Because of their greed and their desire to get rid of their debt. Well, in this season, they vote after every game to go back. And spoiler alert, these niggas are still there. Like, it's crazy. And because of that element, they become more and more divided, right? Like, when they vote, they're given a circle patch that says, I'm the keep going team, or a red X patch that is I want to go home team. So like you've got
so you know who voted.
You know who voted.
Oh,
yeah,
come on, yeah.
Right. And then there's been multiple votes, you know, since I've been watching it. So people have changed teams like in both directions. So yeah, it's the element of them voting every time is fucking wild. And also because they know the amount of money that's in the pot, they're like, well, if we all vote to go home, we split the pot amongst each other. And then they're like, well, it's not actually that much money. So like, I just risked my life in the last time. But if I play one more game and they eliminate a bunch of people, then the pool is a bit bigger. I'll quit after that. I'll play one more game. I'll quit after that. Right. And it's like, it's this constant need to push the edge. So yeah, it's very, very
that's
good.
Actually, that's actually pretty clever. I actually, I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but yeah, I like that. I like that little twist And
Yeah.
because it's just, it's a commentary on, the human condition and greed and,
Mm-hmm.
oh, surprise, surprise, the villains are rich people, guys. The villains are the
Right.
rich people. So,
Right. But in this season, at least so far, like they don't really deal with the rich assholes who like pay to watch this shit. Like, because they became more prominent later in the season, the first season. Um, it's all about just sort of on the ground, like the people, people in the events. And it's that whole idea of like, you get to, hey, you want to go home? Yeah, I want to go home. Well, they said you can't. So fuck off. We'll see you tomorrow. Like, God damn it! Like it's wild. But if you're hesitating on whether to watch season 2, watch it. It's very good. I watched Carry On. Did you watch this?
no, my wife watched it. She really enjoyed it, but
You know what?
it's a crapshoot.
She's not wrong. It's actually
all right.
like, look, is it good? No, it's not good. Is it a better version of Die Hard 2? Yeah, kind of, right? Takes place in an airport. This whole like, all right, there, you gotta like, he's basically the John McClane character. Wants to be a cop, but he's kind of a loser, right? Like he's just kind of a wayward dude and can't get out of his own way. He's got this girlfriend who he lives with, or maybe they're even married. I don't remember. Again, plot details, not that important.
Yeah.
They're together, and they both work at the airport. He works like checking bags type of shit, or scanning bags, and she does some other thing that's slightly more important. And she's like, you could really like try out and like try to do something, get an upgrade at your job. Maybe they'll let you work the line. Like that's how low he is. He don't even get to like, all right, put your bag in the conveyor belt. He's not even there, right? And so he gets a chance to like work the conveyor belt, right? Like his boss is like, all right, I'll give you a chance. And so he does, and he takes the place of this guy who was supposed to be there, like a friend of his. And so he ends up being given this earpiece, right? And this earpiece is from the bad guy, Jason Bateman, incidentally, who's very good, by the way, as a villain. I actually like him a lot. And he's like, it's an earpiece that nobody can really see. And he's telling him, like, you're going to let this bag go through, right? Because he is a bad guy and there's something terrible in the bag. He's like, you're going to let it go through, or I'm going to kill your girlfriend, blah, 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 all this shit, right? So he's trying to follow the directions he's being given by this bad guy, while also trying to get a message to anybody that he's being manipulated, and also trying to not let them know that he's being manipulated because he doesn't want his girlfriend to be killed. Mm-hmm. And also he's just like a guy who wants to be a cop, so he's got that kind of edge to him, like I could do this type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty fun movie. Like it's a take your brain, sit it on the fucking seat next to you. Don't worry too heavily about the logic of it all. But it's not bad. It's a good folding laundry movie. You're like, oh shit, let me stop folding this t-shirt for a second. Like, all right, that's not bad. I had fun with it. Like it's silly, but I did have fun with it. I will admit. So yeah. You watched Jack Reacher season 2 finally.
Yeah, finally. And keeping with
it?
tradition. Yeah, I finished it. In keeping with tradition of watching Jack Reacher a year after it comes out. I watched season 2, and I really enjoyed season 2. I think season 2 was a little better than season 1. But the only reason I watch these things while I'm working. Talk about like folding laundry. Like it's fine. It's fine. And it's not like it's nowhere near peak TV, right? But I do enjoy it, which means I am firmly in my dad era of
100%.
Watching TV and getting like enjoyment from these things. It's I see the appeal, not enough to read a book about Jack Reacher.
I tried. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, this is a I get it. This is one of those like, is he smart type of guys, right? But you know, he's a big dude who is just kind of attentive, right? Like he's not a brain, right? Like he has attention to detail. He's a functioning autistic, right? A high functioning autistic.
I mean, he really is. Like, yeah. At least that's how he's played on the show. I don't know if that's true for the books, but definitely how he's played on the show. Like, at the end, hey, what'd you get with the money? I got a train ticket.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bought a super pass so I could get on any bus I want to go to. I was like, yo, just get a car, yo. Like,
everybody else is like, yeah, I went and paid off my kid's college tuition. She's like, I got a toothbrush. Like, okay, this is weird. Like, you're being weird, Jack.
I also forget because, you know, we're so ingrained that our protagonists are good people. I forget that Jack Reacher is just like a vigilante, yo. Like he just kills people, yo. Like he kills a lot of dudes. And he is indiscriminate on the bad dudes that he kills, right? Like it's not like levels to the shit, right? Like, oh well, like nah, yo, if you're a stormtrooper, I don't give a fuck if you just filling in for somebody on the Death Star, like you getting blown up, right?
Yeah, he don't give a fuck.
I keep forgetting that, and the show is very the show loves to remind me that like, nah, I'm gonna just throw you out of a helicopter, yo, like fuck off, like
or blow one up with a bazooka at the end.
right. They just
nigga, that was one of the oddest endings of all. I was like, what is happening right now? They're just like,
what's wrong with these people, yo?
Like, yeah, they're like complete psychopaths.
Like, yo, I got paid to fly the helicopter. I don't know this guy's name. I don't know. They did that specifically in case I got caught. I have plausible deniability. I don't know shit about shit. Can I leave? Yeah, you can go. And you, scientist, yeah, go ahead. And then they just blow the motherfucker up, yo. Like,
yeah, I was fucked up.
God damn.
Oh man.
Oh shit. Well, yeah, it's fine. Looking forward to next year when I watch season 3 once season 4 is announced.
Yeah, I look, I enjoy that show. It's to your point, it's ridiculous. But it's a good time. It's a good time. I love watching a guy walk around and just like kick the front of a car and cause the airbag to come on. Like,
right. Like,
he's unbelievably strong. Like, he's just unbelievably strong. Like, I'm not so sure that would work, but you know what? Who am I to say? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a physics expert. I'm not a physicist. Get out of here. It's probably real. You watched Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I have not watched this. I plan on watching it this weekend.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, there was some news last week or so of the actor that plays Spider-Man, Hudson Thames, Timms. I don't know. But his name is Hudson. I'm going to call him Hudson Thames. And he said something to the effect of, yeah, the show's really good. I was afraid it was going to be all woke and stuff, but it's not. It's just really good. And I don't know what he was talking about, bro, because this is like the most woke Spider-Man piece of media that I've ever seen, right? And
it's because they don't know what the word means. They don't know what the word means.
They really don't. And when I say that, yo, like, I'm not just talking about like some of the race swapping, right? Like Norman Osborn is black, Harry's black, Kirk Connors is a black woman, right? Like,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like it's not. Yeah, Peter's best friend is Nico Minoru, like from The Runaways, the Asian lesbian girl. Yeah, exactly. They've got a character here who is.
Does she have powers?
No,
she's not doing witchcraft.
At least not yet. No, not yet.
But that, by the way, that's very cool, because if that leads to a Runaways cartoon, I'm actually like in full support of that. I actually like that live action Runaways. I thought that was actually pretty good. Anyway, go ahead.
They introduce a character that most people have never heard of, right? The average person has never heard of, called Wave, right? Like, she's a character who will eventually become Wave. She's a Southeast Asian character that Peter has a crush on, right?
Interracial?
Lonnie Lincoln is in it, and like spoilers if you don't know who the name Lonnie Lincoln is, but Lonnie Lincoln eventually becomes a Spider-Man villain, right? Named Tombstone.
Oh, is that?
And yeah, that's his real name. Lonnie Lincoln's black, right? He's always been a black guy. Something happened to him. That's why he's got that pale stone face skin, and hence the name Tombstone. But like, Lonnie Lincoln is like the Flash Thompson analog,
okay,
right? But he's not, right? He's like the big tough like jock football player, right? And no, you see that and you're like, oh, okay, well, he's gonna pick on Peter. No, he's actually really cool. He's really cool and he's really dope and he really likes Peter, right? And I think he's going to be an important secondary protagonist because like they show, he gets into this, Lonnie and Peter and all these kids are in this really like advanced school, right? And they make it a point to show Lonnie going from this really fancy school in like Brooklyn or Queens to like this rough area where he lives in Harlem. And he's walking, right? And he's walking and you see the cops just slow down and just stare at him, right? And then they keep going, right? They're profiling him, right?
Right.
In real time. And I'm like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? They're like, this is the most woke ass Spider-Man piece of media that I've ever seen.
No, you know what woke means? That I can guarantee you, I know what it means. It's just like, are there gay people in it? Are there gay or trans people in it for this person? That's what woke means, right? Like, obviously there are characters who are race swapped, unless he doesn't know that those characters are not white in the comics. Like, that's possible that he doesn't know that. But like, this is how, like, when people say comic book characters are woke, it's one of the quite possibly the dumbest things you can say, because the entire point of those characters is to be social justice warriors. That's what they are. They just they save people not for money, but for the love of the game. Okay, that's why they do it. That's why they do it. Captain America is literally in the MCU saying, like, I'm sorry, Tony, if I see something going bad, I can't help it. I'm going to intervene, basically. Like, that's his whole argument. And Tony's like, we shouldn't fucking do that. Well, what if the military doesn't want us to do that, or the U.S. doesn't want us to do that? He's like, I don't give a shit. Again, I'm doing it for the love of the game. That's why I'm a hero. That's what heroes do. That's literally a line Thor says, right? Like, to not understand that and to call it like woke, it just tells me you don't actually understand, one, what that term really means, and two, you don't even understand the books you're reading or the cartoons or the media that you're consuming. You don't get it. Oh, is there a gay character? Then it's woke. But that's not what.
And here's the kicker. Dude. And here's the kicker. There's a lesbian in it. Nico Minoru.
Yeah, but but they don't really know who she is, right? They don't know who she is. Also, they probably got like a weird Asian fetish.
They probably got a weird Asian fetish, but it's not like no, they say, like, they allude to the fact that like she's fucking with Peter, like, hey, you better ask that girl out or I might do it. Right? Like it's
like it's not hard
right
to
there. Yeah. It's right there, yo.
Inference is not these people's strong suit. Okay, you gotta stuff. Texas is not their strong suit. Fucking
so yeah. This, but the show is pretty good. I am enjoying it. It's kind of like a what if, right? Like Doctor Strange is in the very first episode, and he's fighting something that comes through some interdimensional portal, and that's where the spider is from. That bites Peter. It's it's like a magic spider or some shit. Okay. And then we kind of skip all the training stuff to just him kind of being Spider-Man.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. And he's only Spider-Man for like 3-4 months or something like that. But where it differs is that he gets an internship at Oscorp, and Norman Osborn, the scene where the scene, I forget which movie, but the scene where Peter comes home, Aunt May is there, Tony Stark is there. Tony Stark goes into the back and is like, "This you?"
Yeah, that's Civil War.
It's Norman Osborn this time.
Nice.
Norman Osborn is like, "You're Spider-Man."
Oh shit.
Oh shit! Like, and
that's an interesting little wrinkle to it then.
Yeah, and that's where episode 2 kind of ends. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Wait, are they all not out?
No, it's weekly.
Oh, excellent! I like that. Good.
Yeah, it's weekly. So sorry, spoilers for episode 2, but it's a pretty good show. I actually really do enjoy it. I always like seeing, different variations of characters. Like I want to and different interpretations of them. And I think this is going to give me that. So yeah, it's not bad, man. It's not bad. The animation is when it's still, right, it looks good. When it's not moving, it looks like, it looks like an old, like, John Romita Sr. drawing. Yeah. Right. It's I like the animation, the art style, but the animation is sometimes hit or miss.
Yeah. I like the
when he's swinging around, looks pretty good, but like when people are just like walking around and meandering and stuff, they try not to fall into the trap of like idle animations, like in video games, a character just can't stand still, right? They gotta do this shit, right? But at the same time, it's like people are a little too still sometimes. And then, when they go to move, it's like the Spike Lee dolly shot, like, like, all right, guys, like, what are we doing? But it's nothing that, it doesn't hurt the eye. You know what I mean? It's not off-putting, but it is noticeable.
Yeah, I just have some of the first episode up in this Doctor Strange sort of situation that's going on. Yeah, it looks good. I really like the art style, like, of the actual drawings. Like, that looks very cool. And it's obviously not cell shaded, but it has that same feel. What was that Spider-Man video game that was kind of cell shaded? It had like the robotic rhino as the first villain.
Oh yeah, was that Ultimate Spider-Man? I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
It wasn't Shattered Dimensions and stuff. No, I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man.
That has the same feel to it as this to me.
Yeah.
So and I like that because it feels like a comic book. Like, and I see they're actually doing like cutouts,
and they're doing like panels and stuff to kind of do transitions into. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And
they're only 30 minutes. So that's cool.
And it's only 30 minutes. You can knock them out. It's not even a it's not a hard watch.
All right, cool. You speaking of Disney Plus, you watch Paradise. This is what's his face? The guy who makes us cry.
Sterling Brown. Sterling K. Brown. Made by this show is created by the other guy that makes you cry all the time, Dan Fogelman. He is the creator of This Is Us.
Yep.
And he's up to his old tricks, man. This is kind of it's billed as a political thriller. So I'm gonna give away part of the premise that's given away at the end of the first episode. But the show is about the Secret Service agent named Xavier, played by Sterling K. Brown, and he is the detail, the Secret Service security detail for the president, played by James Marsden. James Marsden, the guy looks like a Kennedy, right?
He does. He does.
He looks like a Kennedy. This is the perfect like TV president, that you can ask for. Well, one day he comes into work and the president's dead. Okay. And
Yeah.
it's all to find out who killed the president. And you have Julianne Nicholson. She plays Samantha. She is the world's richest person. And
she should be thrown off of a fucking building. Sorry, that's just a response.
I mean, response. I mean, she's the villain, guys. Like, she's very much the villain of this show. And yeah, and it's called Paradise because the world is coming to an end, and the world's richest person figured out a way to save 25,000 people. And they put them in a bunker, in a city-sized underground bunker under like a mountain. And while the world gets destroyed. And that's like the hook, right? To keep you coming back. It's a pretty good show. It's good enough that I will finish it. The latest episode came out today, and there's some twists, not twists, but there are things that if you've seen these types of shows before, if you're paying attention, you can kind of see coming, but at the same time, it's still sad when it does come. Yeah, it's not bad. Sterling K. Brown is pretty much excellent in everything.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Julianne Nicholson, who is the world's richest person, they give her a backstory that almost made me cry, but it almost made me cry because they're cheating, right? Like they're using certain ways to get you to manipulate you.
I mean, that sounds like a This Is Us sort of situation.
Right. And they do their level best to make you empathize with this person.
I do.
But damn it, I don't. I just don't.
Let me guess. She grew up in a rough household next to an emerald mine and had to come to America. I don't know. Whatever. Throw them to the lions. Okay, that's where I am right now. Rich people all need to go away.
That the actual world's richest person, if they had this backstory show, they would let you know about it every single day.
Right. Instead, they lie about playing video games because they're fucking losers. All right, so Paradise, pretty good. All right, cool. I like Sterling K. Brown in everything. I really do. I think that guy's a super talent. His career baffles me. I mean, obviously, This Is Us was an incredibly popular show, but his career baffles me because I don't know how everyone doesn't see how good he is and why he shouldn't be in fucking. He should be to the point where people are like, I've seen enough of Sterling K. Brown. But I feel like he weirdly is having trouble like breaking in big in movies. Like I find
he should be a megastar.
Yeah,
he should be a megastar. And look, I get it. Actors like TV because it's like regular work, right? Oh, yeah, especially now that TV is like kind of surpassing movies in terms of quality storytelling.
Certainly.
But like he should be a megastar,
He should
like his movie credits, his last movie credit was Atlas, like
that movie.
And he was in American Fiction, right? As Jeffrey Wright, another person who should be way more famous than he is, as Jeffrey Wright's brother. I'm looking at his filmography. There's much to be desired, but hey, man, look,
his TV work is fucking excellent.
His TV work is fine.
It's excellent.
Yeah, his TV work is fine. Just keep working.
What was that movie we did with him as the pastor? He was
Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul.
Yeah, that movie was awesome. He was great. He was fucking excellent in that movie. I loved it. All right, so you also watch Companion. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Companion is really, really good. It, I don't want to. I think we talked about the trailer, and if you look at the marketing, I would advise you, if you don't know anything about this movie, go see it. Right, go see it. Don't look at anything. Don't even look at the poster. Right, go see it. But I'm going to talk about things that are in the trailer and the premise of the movie. So skip like 2 minutes if you don't want to hear it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, this movie's really good, and it has a lot of themes, very similar themes to Barbarian. If you've, God, I want to talk about this movie so bad, man, because it is very much a movie that I think you would really enjoy.
Oh, I 100% know. I mean, dude, I loved Barbarian. That movie was like fucking all over the place. It was great. So yeah, I know. I'm 100% in on Companion. Absolutely.
There is this guy, he has a robot companion. They go to a house in a secluded area, and the robot ends up killing people, right? And that's all I'll really say about it. But no, man, this is a really, really good movie. The even knowing that this character is a robot, there are still and knowing kind of like this was done by the people who made Barbarian, so I could kind of piece together certain things. I still really, really enjoyed it.
So let me ask you: do they consistently do the twisting of like your perception of certain situations? Because like Barbarian, they lead you down, no pun intended here, but like down this path, and you're like, all right, this is what this type of movie is, and then you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then it's a completely different film in the second act and stuff like that.
No, it's
are there twists? Is large twists to
there? I think you follow these characters, and and certain things happen, but who are you rooting for is what I would say.
Okay, fair enough.
And like there was one part,
who's the real victim here?
Right, who's the real victim?
Yeah.
And there was one part where one character is giving this monologue, right? He's giving this speech, and they're like, yada yada yada, and I laugh out loud at the ludicrousness of it. And it is like, if you remember what some of the characters in Barbarian, like how they are and what they represent, right? The different facets of certain people, then you're really gonna enjoy this, man. I can't wait for you to see this, and then I want to have a conversation with you about it.
Okay.
This is a really good movie. Decent gore, not a lot of gore.
Yeah, Barbarian didn't have a lot, but when it did, it counted.
Yeah. And this is the second like lady robot movie in a few years, right? Like,
Deus
Megan came out, and Megan 2.0 is coming out. No, this is better than Megan. This is really good, man.
I mean, I'm gonna ask a ludicrous question: is it better than Deus Ex or Ex Machina?
Ex Machina. It's a very different movie.
Yeah,
but
I imagine less serious.
Yeah, way less serious. But it's much like you thought Heretic was a rip-roaring good time.
Loved it.
This movie is a very good time.
All right,
and yeah, it reminds me of another movie. It reminds me of another movie that I'll talk about. That we all saw. That I'll talk to you all about.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says "I thought Heretic was a really fun ride." It was awesome. Why are you guys being weird? It's great. It's like going to Disneyland. Like I imagine, I'm not saying that this is what happens. I honestly don't know and don't indicate anything, even if I am correct. But I imagine that idea of who's the real victim here type of thing is like that movie Blink Twice, right? Like you think everything is like, everything seems like relatively copacetic. You know something is not cool, and then when it's revealed, you're like, okay, it's really not fucking cool. Like so, like I could see something like that. But yeah, I assumed there would be some level of twist with Companion, just considering how Barbarian was. And if you've never seen Barbarian, do yourself a favor.
Yeah,
that's a fun ride. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
That is fun. Yeah.
That's a fun ride, man. It's fucked up, but it's a fun ride. It goes in all sorts of crazy directions. All right, let's talk about Severance season 2 so far. You've watched the first 3 episodes?
Yeah, I'm caught up. Last time I said, I think I said like, I don't understand, why they would come back, and yeah, I should just shut the fuck up because I don't know what I'm talking about. Like Severance is amazing, and we back.
Yeah, look, watching the first episode, I was like, all right, I can see like them just kind of putting the pieces in place. And then in that second episode, they were like, all right, now here we go. So I understand that. I get the sort of trepidation, coming out of the gate after episode 1. But yeah, episode 2 was good to kind of get you like, why are they returning back into this world? Quite literally, not just like from a directorial standpoint, but like the actual characters, considering things that happen at the end of season 1. And then episode 3, oh boy, the fucking train has left the station. And that was very, very good. I am looking forward to watching the season and then rewatching it with my wife, who has not watched the season yet. But yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to what happens. I like whatever the fuck is going on with Haley because it's super interesting. Because I've seen many theories and I tend to agree with them that someone is not who they appear to be. And she's like kind of like a massive piece of shit. Like she really is.
Yeah.
Like a massive piece of shit. Like when they're not on the severance floor, it's like, okay, like the fuck? This is getting weird.
That's one of the really cool things about the show, and I would imagine it's kind of fun as an actor to play this one character 2 very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of them do it right. Like, what's his name? Mark is, he's damn near suicidal. His outie, right? But his innie is like all perseverance, right? And Haley is, all real piece of shit. Right?
Ruthless. She's ruthless. That reveal in season 1 that she's the daughter of the Lumen Corporation or whatever that was a massive surprise. You're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, oh shit. So having those kind of characters kind of jumping back and forth, I think is really dope. The meetup with the one dude and his wife, that was fucking wild. That was wild as shit. And then you meet the Audi version of him, and he's just kind of a fuck up. Like he's just kind of a fuck up. But meanwhile, on the severed floor, he's like employee of the month and like getting shit done and like all of this other stuff. So there's a weird aspect of they're not like, even though they're severed, their minds are sort of bifurcated. Even though that's true, like they also have completely different personalities, and their any personality has only been developed like a child in this environment. So they're just like kind of workhorses. Like it's really weird. And all of these ideas of like what makes them sad and all that has somehow been pushed to the side. Like I would like to know more about the actual severance procedure, right? Because it's one thing to just say, okay, we're bifurcating your mind and then just sending you down to work. How did they separate like memories and all? Like, how did they do that and then just make this into like a brand new person? I just fascinating. Yeah. So I don't know if they'll ever get into that, but I just find that whole aspect of it interesting.
I would never do this.
What? Have a severed mind?
Yeah,
hell no.
I would never do this because I would imagine that my innie would just be tortured, right? You get on that elevator, and then when the doors open, it's your floor again, right? Because like they don't have
you're stuck.
Consciousness outside of it, right? Like, and I imagine it's not like, you know, you get on the elevator, it closes, you go to sleep for 8 hours, right? Or you feel refreshed or whatever. Like, no, I imagine it's like blinking. Like the door closes and then it opens right back up. And that is maddening to me, especially having worked at the United States Patent and Trademark Office.
I assume that's what work was like there. Like I just
yes, it was just a couple of buildings, and they had offices, right? But you had to share them, right? It wasn't queues. Yeah, they were windowless offices that you had to share with people. It's horrible. Horrible. And it felt like I was severed because I would get there super early. I would get there at like 6 o'clock and I wouldn't leave until 10.
10 o'clock?
Yeah. Like I'm like, yo, I can't do this. You remember how I was?
Yeah, nigga, you were depressed.
I've never mind, yo.
Yeah, I've never seen you as low in life than when you had a job working for the federal government.
That's the worst job I've ever had, yo.
Yeah, no shit.
The worst job I've ever had. And I've worked at UPS, just moving boxes.
Nah, yo, what can Brown do for you? That's an African American slogan. Get out of here.
Yeah, man. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that job. There's something wrong with. I would gladly work at UPS over the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It just wasn't for me.
I
hated it.
1,000%.
I hated
it. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, so Severance is back. It's very, very good. If you've not watched it, man, do yourself a favor. Go back and start season 1. It's very good. If you're into that sort of thing. All right, let's take a break, and we're gonna go right into topics. All right, topics, Micah. Take it away.
The Oscar nominations are out.
Yay.
Emilia Perez, a Netflix musical about a trans drug lord in Mexico, leads with 13 nominations, including nods for Carla Sofia Gascon and Zoe Saldana for their acting, Jacques Audiard for directing, and a nomination for Best Picture. Wicked and The Brutalist each have 10 nominations each.
Yeah, I wouldn't see The Brutalist, man. Apparently it's like top shit.
Yeah. I want to see it. I just, I gotta, it's like 3.5 hours or something like that. And I don't necessarily mind watching a long movie, but I just need the time, man. I'm not one of those people that can watch a movie, turn it off, take a break, come back to it the next day or whatever. Like I can't do that. I hate it. If I'm going to commit to watching a movie, I'm going to commit to watching it. But
yeah, it depends on the movie. So I'm like, you know what? I need a break.
And look, if I gotta do that, then the movie is not for me. Right?
That's fair.
The movie has not captured my attention.
That's fair.
Best Picture: Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, which I really want to see.
Yeah.
The Substance, and Wicked. That is a lot of movies, and they run the gamut, man. Like, can't say that it's all a bunch of movies no one's ever heard of.
No, I mean the fact that The Substance is there is kind of a huge deal.
It is a huge deal because I would consider The Substance a horror. I've never seen it, but I would consider it a horror, and horror movies just do not get recognized by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. for whatever reason. I don't know why. We're going to talk about a horror movie coming up. Best performance by an actor in a lead role: Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, and Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice.
I really want to see Conclave too. That looks very good.
Someone spoiled Conclave for me. My God,
shut up.
Performance by an actor in a supporting role: Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, which is a movie I actually really want to see, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. Performance by an actress in a lead role: Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emily Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance.
I hope she wins.
I was about to say this is probably, going to her.
Yeah.
And Fernanda, especially, considering all the other stuff that we'll talk about in a second. And Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. And last up, for performance by an actress in a supporting role: Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The List, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Everything else, I don't know if people care.
How about this? Best animated feature film: Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance, Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Wild Robot should take that. I mean, look, I loved Inside Out 2, but even I have to admit, The Wild Robot is a hard one to beat. Like, it really is. It's a beautiful.
My son, he just keeps watching Inside Out 2, so much so that he's like, I want to learn how to play hockey. And I'm like,
turn it off.
I'm like, all right, no, you don't, but okay, I'll bite, right? Well, you got to learn how to skate. I don't want to learn how to skate. Well, then you're not going to play hockey. Get out of here. Right. Problem solved.
My daughter today, I don't know what she watched. She watched something or read it in a book. She wants to do fencing. I'm like, one, that is the most Jay's kid thing I've ever heard. Like, for my daughter, be like, oh, really? What sport does she play? Fencing. Of course, you fucking giant snooty ass. Like, not my choice. Although some of the best young fencers for the American Olympic team are in fact black, so I don't know if people know that, which is dope. We'll see. I mean, then there's all the fucking nerd awards, right? But achievement in directing: Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, James Mangold, A Complete Unknown, Jacques Aldouard for Emilia Perez, and then Coralie Farget. I'm going to try not to say something wrong there. Yikes! The Substance. Yeah, that's a landmine of a last name. Like, right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it ain't the night, buddy.
Yeah. Best to step over that one. Okay, that's cool. Good. And then you have 900 different stories about the Emilia Perez controversy. Jesus Christ.
So, I want to. I might watch this movie. My wife watched it. She said it was okay. I asked her if she think I would like it. She said no, which is good. But I hear this movie so bad. I kind of want to see it. Right, like it's one of those megalopolis things now at this point.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see it, but the people that have seen it, and the fact that it has been nominated for the most awards this year, people are calling it this year's Crash, right?
Oh no!
Okay, look.
Oh shit!
Mexican people, Spanish speaking people, they do not like this movie. They don't like it at all, to the point.
I can't imagine they do.
To the point where a Mexican filmmaker, and if I find the name, I will shout him out. He created a film which is which is a direct shot at this French man who has never been to Mexico, never didn't shoot the movie in Mexico, and making the story about Mexican gangsters transitioning into a different gender. This Mexican director is like, all right, well, fuck you. I'm going to make a movie starring a bunch of Mexicans pretending to be French people. And they're like wearing like drawn on pencil mustaches and they're all mimes and shit. I got to see if I can find it, man. Wow. It's wild. But yeah, people do not like this movie, man. People are like, nah, yo, if this movie wins, it's the crash of our generation and we gonna riot. And the lead actress.
Yo, I just looked up Crash, by the way. This is from 2004. Obviously it won Best Picture, which was fucking ridiculous. It's a bad movie. Do you know the movie it beat out for Best Picture that was heavily favored that year?
No.
It beat Brokeback Mountain. And I don't know if people have seen Brokeback Mountain. That's a great film, right? Like I get it. Oh, they're gay, whatever. Look, I use that the cowboys looking at each other fucking meme all the time. Like, it's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry, it's funny. But that's a great movie. Ang Lee, I believe, directed that, and that was a pretty stellar film, right? There was great performances by Jake Gyllenhaal and what's his face, Heath Ledger, amongst others. It lost to Crash, where Ludacris was a carjacker, right?
And it was, it's one of those like, this is why people hate liberal Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Because Crash was just like, let's just check all the boxes, right?
It's been a long time since I've seen this. I should watch this movie again.
And does that movie qualify for black on black cinema?
I mean, there's a lot of black people in it.
And it deals with race, like overtly and ham-fistedly.
Yes. Dude, we might just do it. I don't give a fuck. Lorenz Tate's in this movie. We should do it. That is fucking terrible. What's wild about this is the cast reads like, you remember that movie, like Movie 43 or whatever? Somehow they suckered all these people into this movie. Yo, it's got Sandra Bullock, Don Cheadle, Matt Dillon, Jennifer Esposito, William Finkner, Brendan Fraser, Terrence Howard, Ludacris, Tandy Newton, Ryan Phillippe, Lorenz Tate. I'm like, that's a really good cast in this shitbag of a movie. What happens when our lines get crossed? Let's see. We start crashing into each other. Yeah, I got it.
It's like that Gal. It's if you've never seen Crash, this is like the film equivalent of what Gal Gadot was doing during COVID, right? Where she's just like, Kal-El, remember to mask up and love your neighbor or whatever, right? Like, and she was like singing like "We Are the World" or some dumb shit. No, she was singing "Imagine."
Oh, right. Oh, God. Yes. It wasn't just her. It was several fucking loser celebrities. Like, here's an idea. Why don't I imagine I never heard this horrendous rendition of a good song? Fuck off. So, yeah, I do think, I mean, look, I'll be quite honest. I have not seen Emilia Perez, but it does sound to me, I hate to say it, but it sounds to me like this is very liberal Hollywood pushing up a film that is about a trans character. And it is clear that everyone else is like, cool, trans people are fine, like normal people without mental illness. Like trans people are fine, right? I'm not a crazy wackadoodle conservative. But this movie sucks, right? Like, you don't have to promote it just because it has trans people in it. There are other movies with trans people in it that are better. Like, just
and not even that it sucks on like a movie making level. From what I hear, I might watch it and report back next week. But
I'm gonna watch
it. Apparently, people don't like it because like it is actively going out of its way to play into stereotypes and to misrepresent. And like some Spanish speaking people were like, yo, what is Selena Gomez talking about, yo? Like, this doesn't, like, no one would say this like that. I've heard it described as a cis European's version of what a trans experience is, of what a Mexican experience is, and they just do not get it. And look, man, enough people are saying it that I believe them.
Look, that's not good.
I'm gonna watch it. If I could watch Megalopolis, I can watch this.
It got 13 nominations. Oh my god,
the most, bro. The most nominations.
You know what? I think this tells it all. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 production companies. And you tell me it's a good movie? It's got 6 of them? We've been doing movies long enough to know that if they run a bunch of production companies in the beginning of this movie, it's a piece of shit. Because everybody trying to like, no, you spent $2. I only going to spend $5 on it. Everybody trying to spread out the damage.
Everybody trying to spread it out, or they think that they've cracked the code and want to be in on it. You know what I mean?
Like, well, it could be
that. But that's not good either, man. Like, that's not like, you just kind of glom it on, and then if you're a producer, like, you get some say in what you see. So it just, I don't know. But look, what I'm about to talk about is Carla Sofia Gascon. She's under fire about some tweets that she made about Muslims and George Floyd and Oscar diversity. A journalist named Sarah Hagee dug up these tweets because
is she trans? Like, she is. Okay, no, she is. Okay, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, the main character. Yeah, she's trans. She's a trans woman.
Okay,
and she dug up some old tweets because she thought she heard something. Yeah, I think the journalist is Muslim, and she was like, "Huh, I thought I heard her say some shit about Muslims. Let me see. Let me go back." So she went back to 2020, which not that long ago, guys. These quotes are translated. These tweets are translated. I'm sorry, is it just my impression, or is there more Muslims in Spain? Every time I go pick up my daughter from school, there are more women with their hair covered and their skirts down to their heels. Next year, instead of English, we'll have to teach Arabic. And it's like, okay, all right,
not the best.
In September 2020, she writes, Islam is marvelous without any machismo. Women are respected, and when they are so respected, they are left with a little square hole in their faces for their eyes to be visible and their mouths, but only if she behaves, although they dress this way for their own enjoyment. Deeply disgusting of humanity, right? It's a little bit of sarcasm there. And she posted that with a picture of a Muslim family.
Okay.
Islam fails to comply with international rights, and it must be banned as long as it doesn't comply with DDHH, which is human rights law in Spain. She also goes after other religions.
Spoiler alert. None of the religions do, but okay.
Well, she also goes after other religions.
Okay, look, this is starting to become a fun ride for me. Go ahead. All right.
I am so sick of so much of this Islam, of Christianity, of Catholicism, and all of the fucking beliefs of morons that violate human rights. And
let her go. Right. Let her go. She sounds like a hero.
Well, then we get to George Floyd.
Oh, here we go. God damn it. I was on your side.
And she says, I really think that very few people ever cared about George Floyd, a drug-addicted swindler. But his death has served to once again demonstrate that there are people who still consider black people to be monkeys without rights and consider policemen to be assassins. They're all wrong.
I don't know how to take that.
Right.
Like wait, hold on. Read that tweet again. Because I'm like, I want to be mad, but like, Hold on.
I think I know what she's trying to say. So
you ain't have to say monkey though. Like I think that's the part that's fucking me up. Like, why'd you say that?
You don't have to qualify. Yeah, I don't think people really cared about George Floyd. Okay, most people don't care about George Floyd, but they care about what he represents, right? But then you qualify George Floyd by calling him a drug addicted swindler. Like, the man's dead.
Like, you didn't know him,
right? You didn't know him.
Yeah, that's a little harsh.
But his death, once again, serves to demonstrate that there are people who still consider black people to be monkeys.
Pause. Like, nigga, like, you don't have to say that. Like, that's a wild, like, you just, that's where you went, like, right then? No one was using the word. Why'd you use the word? I feel like,
and they all right, because it's kind of, anyway. And they consider policemen to be assassins, and everyone's wrong about all their takes, right? Like,
I don't like it. I don't like the feel. Like there's a feeling behind that tweet. I don't care for. I don't care for it. Like I hear you. I feel like your heart is trying to go to the right place, but I can't go with you. Like there's something very off-putting about that entire tweet.
She talks about the Oscars. Quote, more and more, the Oscars are looking like a ceremony for independent and protest films. I didn't know if I was watching an Afro-Korean festival, a Black Lives Matter demonstration, or the 8M. Apart from that, an ugly, ugly gala.
That feels ironic. That feels incredibly ironic, because your movie, no offense to you, is clearly being boosted solely because of the topic of you being trans. And again, I don't have a problem with trans folks. I don't have a problem with movies. But everyone is saying this movie stinks, and it got 13 nominations. Come on, man. Like, the fuck?
A tweet from August 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic reads,
here we go.
The Chinese vaccine...
Oh my god!
Apart from the mandatory chip, are you ready?
Go ahead. God damn.
Apart from the okay, I gotta get the giggles out. All right, hold on. Apart from the mandatory chip, comes with 2 spring rolls. What? A cat that moves his hand, like I guess a lucky cat, right? A lucky cat. 2 plastic flowers, a pop-up lantern, 3 telephone lines, and €1 for your first controlled purchase.
Yo, come on. Come on.
Yo, what are we doing, yo? What are we doing?
Nah, you can't give this movie an award, yo. You can't. These tweets are insane.
So many scientists in the world making bombs, so many scholars constructing objects for space, so many medical factories, and there's no one who can get in line with this China shit. In the end, it was a tremendous show for a new variant of the flu, avian or coronavirus. Look, man, you can't go around like apart from the mandatory chip.
Insane.
Just stop right there.
Yeah, the mandatory chip. All right.
She said it comes with 2 spring rolls, a lucky cat, 2 plastic flowers, a pop-up lantern, 3 telephones. How far are you going with this?
Yo, yeah, she was in her bag. She was like fucking nailing this shit. Look, the cat, the waving cat, that's pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna lie. 2 spring rolls is fucking offensive. Like, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, come on, yo. Come on.
That's
2 spring rolls and a lantern, yo. Like, what the fuck?
Come on, man. Like,
next story. She apologizes for.
I bet she fucking
the
did.
Tweets. They are deleted, and she says, "I want to acknowledge the conversation around my past social media posts that have caused hurt. As someone in a marginalized community,
Don't do that.
As someone in a marginalized community, I know this suffering all too well, and I am deeply sorry to those I have caused pain. All my life, I have fought for a better world. I believe light will always triumph over darkness." All right, not that great of a
I don't like that
apology.
No,
not that great.
Don't use the fact that you're in a marginalized group unless you're going to say I'm in a marginalized group and I should have known better. That's the way to phrase that. Not like using it as a shield to kind of deflect from your shitty behavior. Don't do that. Nah.
She then doubles down and deactivates her Twitter, giving a one last message that was translated from Spanish. I'm sorry, but I can no longer allow this campaign of hate and misinformation to affect neither my family nor me anymore. So at their request, I'm closing my account on X. I have been threatened with death, insulted, abused, and harassed to the point of exhaustion. I have a wonderful daughter to protect, whom I love madly and who supports me in everything. I had long ago made the decision to close a social media network, which has taken a terrible turn in which I have also sometimes fallen, and for which I apologize. As part of this society, I have expressed my disagreement or agreement with all the related issues that have touched me and of which I have had an opinion, often erroneous, which has changed throughout my own experience. I have always used my social media as a diary, reflections, notes to later create stories or characters, not as something that would be scrutinized down to the last of its 140 characters, since sometimes I myself am not even aware of having written something negative.
Look, no, yo. You knew what you was writing. Don't do that. Like, we gotta stop. We gotta stop as a society being unwilling to just eat crow when you're called out on the most obvious of shit. Just eat crow. Be like, you know what?
Yeah, just be like,
I didn't know. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to say that the vaccine had a chip in it. I didn't know that. You didn't know that? You didn't know that you weren't supposed to call black people monkeys? You didn't know that? Like, you're not supposed to shit on an entire religion of people who choose to, wear, I think, very, ridiculous sort of garments, but that's their bag, right? I don't have to agree with it. You didn't know that?
I'm going to skip some of this. I am a human being who also makes and will make mistakes from which I will learn. I am not perfect. Taking my words out of context or manipulating them to hurt me is something I am not responsible for. I am only responsible for what I say, not for what others say I said or what others interpret from what I say. Oh man, it sounds like a cop out to me, but
no, it's a huge
I hope I have the opportunity to give a more extensive explanation at some point. And it kind of goes on from there. Zoe Saldana does not support Emilia Perez co-star Carla Sofia Gascon in her tweets. I'm still processing everything that has transpired in the last couple of days, and I am sad. It makes me really sad because I don't support it, and I don't have any tolerance for any negative rhetoric towards people of any group. I can only attest to the experience that I had, and every individual that was part of this film, and my experience and interactions with them was about inclusivity and collaboration and racial, cultural, and gender equity. It just saddens me. It saddens me that we're having to face this setback right now. It better sadden you because you were in blackface playing Nina Simone at one point.
It's actually true, and it's really bad. Look, I'm going to say something that may be controversial to some, but it is. I don't think it would be controversial to you. Never underestimate the fact that this person, Carla Sofia Gascon, never underestimate the fact that this person grew up as a white man in society.
Okay? I mean, look at Caitlyn Jenner, yo.
Exactly. Now, I don't know when. I don't know when she transitioned. I don't know, and I'm not making any speculation about it. I really not. But what I can tell you is, you still grew up in a society. She grew up in Spain, or she was born there. That as a white male, you have a very different perspective on life. And just because you transition later in life to being a woman, which is totally fine by me. I hate that I have to put these caveats because people don't fucking like listen; they just react. But I don't have any problem with you transitioning, and I support you 100% in your transition. It doesn't mean those privileges and those life experiences don't get imprinted on your brain. Caitlyn Jenner is a prime example of that. I'm a trans woman. Great. Hey, what about trans rights? Fuck those people. Okay, how does that make sense? Because I grew up as a rich white man who's super privileged. And I've learned not to give a fuck. And now I'm a Karen, I guess? Like, it's fucking weird. But,
it is.
Don't just assume just because somebody has transitioned into what is, technically a minority. I mean, as far as women, right? They are, I think, by the raw numbers are the majority, but they're not treated as the majority. They're treated as a minority. Just because they've transitioned into being a part of a minority group doesn't mean they share the same thought processes as everybody who is in that group. And trans women too, right? There are trans women who don't think like her, obviously. So,
right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know this is like a touchy subject, but like, spoiler alerts, I respect you being a woman. It sounds like you're a fucking cunt. How about that? Welcome. You sound like a fucking asshole. Yeah, you sound like an asshole. Like, what the fuck, man? What's wrong with you? I hope you don't win shit. I hope that movie doesn't win shit. Fuck you.
She gives another apology. I won't read the entire thing because it's a lot more, it's just more of her defending herself. But at one point she says, "You will be surprised when you find out that one of the most important people in my current life and that I love the most is Muslim." Like I would advise against.
Some of my best friends are Muslim now.
Yeah.
That's the most white guy thing I've ever heard. Shut the fuck up. Just knock it off. Did you know I have friends? I don't care.
But the last thing regarding this came out a couple of hours ago. Netflix is distancing themselves from Emilia Perez star Carla Sofia Gascon to South Film's Oscar prospects.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, because Netflix for a while just did not, comment on this. They thought that, it would go away, and we don't live in this day and age now. It's kind of blow over in a couple of days. So we'll see. I'm going to watch this movie. I'm going to give it a fair shake. My wife watched it to completion. She said it was interesting. But she did say I wouldn't like it. So
I do love that. She did say I wouldn't like it. All right, just quickly, here's something from the rumor mill. The Russo brothers will oversee the X-Men reboot and more after Avengers Secret Wars is released. I like that idea. I mean, I think these guys are good at sort of overseeing these massive projects, right? I mean, obviously they had to kind of keep all the plates spinning so that they all culminated to Endgame and made sense, right? And clearly we're working with Gunn and everybody else to make sure that their movies were in line with what they were trying to ultimately get to. That's fine. What that tells me, though, is if that does turn out to be true, the X-Men part of the universe is going to be much bigger than we thought. And you're probably not just getting the like blue team, gold team type of thing. There's a lot of that. I mean, there's enough in the X-Men universe to rival everything you have in the MCU all by itself.
It can be its own thing, man. Like they're still creating new X-Men characters to this day.
Right, which is fucking wild. Right? It's like you have enough, but because you can do anything, right? Like they're not limited to like,
and you have to, you have to like appeal to like younger readers. You have to appeal to current readers. There's one X-Men character now named Bronze who is a black girl, and I've seen like panels of the same issue where like they really like change her hairstyle in like every panel, right? Like because like hair is important, right? And it's so you can literally do anything. Now you would have to, start with the characters that people know.
Of course, before you span out.
But yeah, you can and that's my thing, man. Like I don't necessarily need the X-Men to necessarily interact with these MCU characters that we know of right now, right?
Because not all the time. No.
Yeah, like you read X-Men. I haven't read X-Men in 30 years, right? But they weren't always palling around with, other characters.
No,
you had the occasional. Yeah, they were in space, for God's sakes.
Fuck off. Yeah, I mean the last stuff I read of X-Men was the Krakoa stuff, which was pretty fun. I kind of fell off of it, but they have nothing to do with the outside world. They're like, we have our own island. Go away. Like leave us alone, right? And they had their own internal politics. So if they're planning on, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, right? Like, because it's clear that, again, the X-Men have so much information to dig into. How far do you go into that universe? And like, if you do go into that part or that part of the universe, do you just kind of shift away from the Avengers completely and just like, on occasion you get a Captain America show up, on occasion you get one of these other characters that Doctor Strange or something show up, and you just completely pivot away from the Avengers altogether? Like, how does that? Do the Avengers just disband and then you just like don't worry about it? Or I don't know.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I think you kind of definitively put a button on Avengers stories after this second, after the movie, after Avengers Doomsday, after Secret Wars or whatever. Yeah. You just kind of put a button on it and you just kind of let it simmer, right? Nobody's gone, right?
Right, you don't kill them.
Right, you don't kill anybody, right? But nobody's gone, but at the same time, hey, we're just gonna pivot. We're just gonna pivot and focus on this.
Yeah.
Occasional cameo if, somebody wants to, a quick payday or whatever. But nah, man, like let the X-Men carry you through another 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, the wild thing is, if you just did it, like, I think there are three factions of kind of stories to tell, right? With the X-Men being the main one. X-Men, street level characters, right? That like your heroes for hire, your Daredevils, that sort of thing. And then you're like your Midnight Suns kind of like, occult type of shit. And those obviously are not going to all be co-equally important, but I could see people really still enjoying the street level stuff. Like, that's kind of fun because you need Spider-Man there, right? You're not just tossing Spider-Man the fuck away. Like, that's never going to happen. He's always going to be there. So that keeps you in the street level stuff. And then you just have him interacting more with your Daredevils and your Luke Cage and Iron Fist and that type of shit. And that's kind of cool. Like, great. And then the other end of that is the vast fucking X-Men universe. And then on occasion you do an occult fucking Ghost Rider, Blade type of shit. Like, that's it. And maybe those guys team up, maybe they don't. Whatever, I don't know. But that's as much as I would do. Like, just start to. I agree. Just like fucking pivot and just go do that.
Yeah, just pivot because the way people are acting
and Fantastic Four is gonna they're not going anywhere either. Not for a while.
No, they better not go anywhere. I'm waiting on my goddamn life for this.
We're about to talk about it.
Yeah, just I feel like you can just I feel like you can make this pivot, and because the way people are acting now, right? Like, people are shitting on this Captain America movie before seeing one reel of it, right? Like, and we're the MCU, and the last phase of MCU movies didn't do anybody any favors, right? While I didn't hate every single one of them, I didn't hate any of them, but I didn't love the majority of them.
Yeah,
and so the a little bit of goodwill has been eroded, but how you can get that back? X-Men,
100%.
So. Let's skip the what the fuck section this week. We can save those for next week.
Yep. All right, let's go right into trailers. The second trailer for Sinners. This looks very good. This is Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan their horror movie. Look, I think this is great. I'm really happy that Michael B. Jordan has decided to allow his twin brother to also get into acting. What is a thing. They solve the age old riddle: what gets women hotter than Michael B. Jordan? Two Michael B. Jordans. Yeah, I think this looks good, man. It looks fun. It's got a bit of what. It's so funny because I made this assumption early on, and then I thought it was totally wrong. But this kind of solidifies a little bit of that. There is an old school vampire movie called Genga and Hess, and what's the name did a remake. Spike Lee, I think, did a remake.
Spike Lee did a remake of it.
Yeah, but it I don't think it did very well. It was very, very different. But it has the same feeling, which is here you have all these black people and then all the vampires or whatever these characters are, I assume they're vampires, are all white. And it was the whole idea of it was about assimilation. Like that was the the subtext. And this feels like that's kind of very similar to what you're getting here. So I thought Coogler had said something about, being inspired by a previous horror movie. And so I'll have to go back and see if I can find his words. But yeah, that's what this feels like. And I'm cool with it. I think it looks good. Michael B. Jordan looks like a fucking badass. And now there's two of them. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think it looks good. I'm always interested in seeing genre pieces done by black people, right? Because we just have a different style, right? Like it's not necessarily better, it's not necessarily worse, but it's different, and it's a different take on certain things, right? Like it'd be true if it was like, something like from a Mexican vampire movie, like From Dusk Till Dawn, right?
Which part of this kind of has a feel like that.
Yeah. So, but it's something different and hopefully memorable. So plus, Ryan Coogler, I want that guy to succeed. I know I have some issues with Michael B. Jordan, but I do think that the guy is a serviceable leading man if given when working with the right people. And
that person.
And Coogler is the right person. Like he absolutely 100% is the right person.
It is amazing. It is amazing to me that every time these guys work together, he pulls a hell of a performance out of him. There is something about those guys and their the way in which they work together is just that shit is cinematic gold. It's like, oh, Michael B. Jordan is in this movie. Oh, that's cool. Who's directing it? Ryan Coogler. I don't care what the plot is. I'll see it. Who cares? Yeah. Who cares? The two of them, they just work very, very well. I mean, it's kind of like not to put too fine a point on it, but it's like Scorsese working with De Niro, right? Or working with DiCaprio. If those guys are working together, you can guarantee those performances are going to be fucking excellent. They just have a way about them that's quite impressive. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Sinners. That looks really, really good. And this drops April 18th, so not too far. Next up, Alien Earth. There is a sort of teaser trailer for that. Okay, that looks terrifying to me. I like the fun sort of Doom-like perspective. Like Doom video game perspective. Yeah, I hope an alien never comes to Earth. That's fucking horrible.
I do not care for that first person perspective. It's I don't know. It's corny to me. It reminds me of that Doom movie.
Yeah,
and that was a pretty bad part in a pretty bad movie.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. It's like you're playing like an old Sega CD game, right? Like you're playing Night Trap, where people are just jumping out and then the person holding the gun is just brr, brr, brr. It's awful. It's just really bad. The Rock is in that movie, but he plays a villain in that movie.
Is he? He's a bad guy?
Yeah, he plays a villain in that movie.
Oh,
he doesn't start off as a villain, but I forget. It's a very forgettable movie. except for that one first-person shooter part, which is just fucking corny. Look, I'm curious how an alien movie on Earth is going to work, especially on a Is this a television show?
I think it's a series. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little curious. I don't know. Look, I saw Aliens for the first time like a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh well, this is it, right? And yeah, it redeemed like Prometheus and all that, but like, I don't know, man. I don't hear people talking about how much they enjoy Aliens aside from this last movie that came out. I just don't know if this is going to work.
No, I mean, people liked Romulus a lot. I did. I thought it was good. It had one part I did not care for it at all. I fucking hated it. It's the same thing Terrence also didn't like. But yeah, this will be interesting because I have to imagine this is going to be far more like scientists hunting to try to catch this thing before it goes fucking wide. I have to imagine that's mostly what this is. So, okay. There's also a teaser trailer apparently for. Oh no, never mind. There's a new trailer for Jurassic Park 4. I don't give a fuck, or Jurassic World 4. I don't care. Fuck that franchise.
Yeah, I don't care for that. I don't care for those movies.
No, they're terrible. All right, let's talk about Final Destination Bloodlines. Did you know this was coming out? This is like one of your favorite series.
I did not know this was coming out. That's why I posted that trailer emphatically in our group chat.
You're like, this is
yo, I am so happy that this movie is coming out.
See, this is a fun ride movie, you demented fuck.
I mean, but this is actually a fun ride, right? Like, you can't tell me, you can't look at this trailer and tell me this is not a fun ride.
Yo, it's not
the perfect.
It's not even a trailer. It's just a scene of chaos.
And that is the perfect trailer for this type of movie.
I love it.
I think this is Tony Todd's last movie. So it's going to be sad. Because Tony Todd is a horror icon. So you owe it to yourself to go see Tony Todd's last movie. But this trailer it's giving me everything that I want from a Final Destination scene. Look, if you don't know the premise of these movies, a group of people escape a catastrophe that would have killed them, and death, the entity, the unseen entity, comes and tries to rectify that mistake. The first catastrophe was a plane crash.
Mm-hmm.
The second one
was Evan Sawa, right? Isn't that the movie? Yeah,
the second one was a pile up on a highway, which, I mean, if you talk to anyone who has any remote knowledge of Final Destination, if you see a log truck, like you're getting off. You're not switching lanes. You're getting off. Right. You're not sitting behind that thing. The third and fourth one were not. They aren't good. The third one is better than the fourth one, but it's not good. And the fourth one is just fucking terrible. But they are a roller coaster ride and a NASCAR accident.
Okay.
And then the fifth one is a bridge accident. These, and then the whole thing of death coming after them. Well, how does death come after them, right? Like, does death just give someone a heart attack or give them cancer? Nah, death is fun, and death will make certain things happen in like a Rube Goldberg, in like a way that it's like playing that game Mousetrap. Like, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens.
This log scene is fucking insane.
And the part of the fun is trying to guess, like, well, what's going to be the thing that actually kills them, right? Like, this is like, I guarantee you, if you look at this trailer, this kid has a septum piercing. So of course you need to die because you got a septum piercing. You're not a bull. Get out of here.
This is what happens, by the way. This is why you don't get it. You could get caught.
Right. This is exactly what happens because a chain that's attached to a ceiling might fall, magically hit you in the septum ring, and a fan will be there to pull you up by your septum, and meanwhile formaldehyde will just fall and ignite for some dumb fuck reason, and you'll try to get, like, I guarantee you this kid is going to die from something other than burning alive. He might burn alive, but then like the fan will fall on his head or some shit. Right? Like,
probably
I
hitting him in the face after he's just to be mean.
Yo, I'm so happy, yo. I can't tell you how happy I am. I can't express to you how happy I am that one of my favorite horror franchises is coming back.
Yeah, this series is ridiculous. I don't think I've fully seen any of them outside of the first one.
The first one is good. The fifth one is good. The second one is good. And if you really like them, watch the third and the fourth one. But like one character in one of the movies gets LASIK surgery.
Yes, it's a cold laser. It's not a hot laser.
No, it's a hot laser. It's a hot laser that you use, if you want to like kill someone, right? It's a laser that James Bond would use, right? And like if I say you're in a Final Destination movie and there's a laser involved with your eye. Oh, well, then obviously the laser is going to kill them by going through their eye. No, that's not how she dies. She dies from a fall, guys. She dies from a fall. And it's just watch the movies, guys. Just watch them. Watch them and you will get it.
Oh my God. I'm watching the roller coaster scene. This is fucking insane. Oh my God! Nobody thought, "Hey, stop the train!" Like, nah. The black dude is hanging on as it's doing the loop-de-loop. Nigga, this is fucking. Sorry, this is fucking insane. God bless the people who make these movies. They're doing the Lord's work. We get a trailer for Magazine Dreams. This is the Jonathan Majors film that was kind of pushed down, obviously after his shenanigans, and now it looks like it's making a run for it. It did get a special jury prize at Sundance. Look, this looks very good. He is a very good. He's a very good actor.
Yeah, he is. I don't think anyone didn't think that this movie was going to be good. But look, man, whatever you think about this guy, I think he has the not the right, but he should be allowed to try and come back. Right?
I think he should be allowed to try. Yeah.
You should. You don't have to like it, right? You don't have to want him to come back.
You don't have to support him.
You don't have to support him, but he should be allowed to try to come back.
Yep.
Mel Gibson can comes back, right? Like all these other mediocre people.
I mean, he trying to come back. Like,
no, he's trying.
Even Iron Man couldn't bring it because he's like, oh, my friend Mel Gibson. People are like, all right, Robert, like, relax.
Yeah, you need to chill out, bro.
Yeah, we love you. We don't fuck with him. I mean, he's really the first person, I think, to get canceled in Hollywood and stay canceled. Like, he's been in a couple of movies, but he's not
the first real big person. Yeah, the first real big.
But he can't break back into like major Hollywood. Like, he can't. Like, people won't work with him. I mean, don't help you.
And look, that's fine. That's fine. He got the opportunity to try to come back, and I'm saying we need to give that to Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, look,
let him try to come back.
I mean, here's the thing. His big issue clearly was, at the end of the day, and I think we all have to be honest about it, his big issue was that he got into whatever argument with this woman that he was dating, and he picked her up and slammed her back into the car. Right? He wasn't like beating on her or anything like that, but he slammed her back into the car. It's unacceptable. You can't do shit like that. You just can't. Like, I don't care how mad you are or whatever. You can't do that. He was not doing what people assumed he was doing, which is like just hardcore beating on this woman. That's clearly not what happened.
Right.
I don't think that's enough to say that this guy's career needs to be fucking dead. I don't. Like we said on the show, you go away for a year, just go away for a year, and then you can try to make your attempt to come back. And look, maybe Hollywood, lets you rock. Maybe they don't. I don't know. That being said, there are definitely people who have done worse, categorically worse shit in Hollywood and have become very prominent actors. Hey guys, you like Thanos? Because Josh Brolin used to beat on his girlfriend or wife back in the day, right? Sean Penn beat the brakes off of Madonna, dude. Like horrible violence. So if those guys can be at the Oscars, being in movies next to Denzel and shit like that years later, and look, I don't begrudge. I mean, fuck Sean Penn, he's an asshole. But I don't hate Josh Brolin, right? Like I didn't know that. I didn't know the wife beating shit until recently. But like, I'm not like, don't give that guy any opportunities. Look, that guy was like, listen, I think he had like problems with alcohol and shit like that, and seems to be pretty apologetic about it. Doesn't make it okay. And I completely understand when somebody's like, fuck Josh Brolin. It's fine. You don't have to fucking like the guy. You really don't. But I don't like the idea that two white men who did things far worse can come back and this guy cannot have an opportunity to come back. That to me is bullshit. Robert Downey Jr. was a massive drug addict and fucked his life up continuously on and off of screen. And now this dude is like the biggest actor in the world. So just saying. So fair is fair. So yeah, I'd like to see him try. Look, am I going to see Magazine Dreams? Yeah, I am. I think he looks very. I think this looks very good. I really do. My only issue with this this trailer is these bodybuilding poses are terrible. They're not very good. They're just not very good. Your side chest is terrible. I'm sure Demetrius is watching. It's like, yeah, no, this is not good. Like, what is this guy doing? He's jacked as fuck though, so good for him. I do think it was funny. He's like, some people say my delts aren't big enough. I was like, I mean, they are kind of small for as big as you are. It's kind of weird. Which tells me maybe he's not on gear, which is weird because he's fucking super jacked. But otherwise, yeah, man, this looks good. I mean, this kind of reminds me of like The Wrestler. It kind of has that kind of performance. But I mean, dude is putting in work. Like he is putting in work for this role. It's very clear. But I've never seen him in anything that I didn't think was quite good.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
okay,
you did.
His performance.
Okay, all right.
Ant-Man, Quantumania, not the best movie.
Well, I was even thinking of The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Yeah,
that movie doesn't appeal to me so much. I don't even remember his performance. How about that? Like, and looking at more images from this movie, this dude is on gear. Get the fuck out of here. This is insane. But yeah, it looks good. It looks good. Just about a guy who wants to be a professional bodybuilder, wants to go to the Olympia, and kind of like that movie that came out a couple years ago with the chick from Twilight and the other woman who should be Wonder Woman. She wanted to be a bodybuilder. Yeah, right. And she kind of has that fall from grace as well because she's trying to do anything to pursue her dreams. That movie was really good, by the way, if you've not seen Love Lies Bleeding. So yeah, Magazine Dreams. All right, I will see that, and that comes out. I don't know.
March 21st.
March 21st. All right, pretty fucking soon. My birthday present to myself: watching Jonathan Majors in underwear. Great.
There you go.
What a gift.
You and Terrence can go on a mandate.
Yeah, we're not going to wear shirts, guys, or pants. He's listening to this like, what the fuck are you talking about? All right, man, you bought the tickets, dog. Don't worry about it. Yeah, 2 tickets for Magazine Dreams. Why? No reason. His or her matinee. Trailers this week. The last but certainly not least. Fantastic Four: First Steps. The dorks are back. Micah, your favorite do-gooders. What do you think of this trailer?
This shit gets my dick hard.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, I am ecstatic about this. Everything about it. I like the look. And which is, I'm usually not into retro futurism.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it fits with the vibe that they're trying to establish here. I think the Thing looks amazing.
He does.
I think Johnny Storm looks great. Reed is Reed. I think Vanessa Kirby is. I think Vanessa Kirby is about to do Sue Storm some serious justice.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't think about Sue really when they think about the Fantastic Four, and they should. Sue's power set is the most diverse and arguably the most powerful, and it appears that she is playing her very matronly, which is a very, very good thing, right? Because especially if you are in a healthy marriage, everyone looks at Mr. Fantastic. The guy calls himself Mr. Fantastic, right? He's got this know-it-all energy about him. But even in this trailer, when they're in the bed, he is confiding in her, and she is giving him strength, right. And that is something that Sue does, man. And I just, when he's doubting himself, he's like, "Oh, well, before we went up there, you couldn't turn invisible, and Ben wasn't a rock, and he's doubting himself because he knows that this is kind of his fault, right? I'm assuming, right? And one of the best lines in the trailer is Sue to Reed saying, "Hey, look, Ben's always been a rock, right? He's always been our rock. He's always been the one that we can lean on, right? Johnny, he's Johnny, right? He's always been like this, right? It's this isn't your fault. And me, I'm here. I'm seen. I'm visible. I can turn invisible, but I'm here with you, present. And we can, whatever this is, we can get through it as a family. And look, you know me, I am a sucker for you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Okay,
right.
I fucking love that stuff, man. I love it. And
they know. I mean, it is the easiest fucking dart to hit, or target on a board to hit with a dart. It's super easy. Oh, is everyone working together? Yeah, god damn it, fine. Yes, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, we have our differences, but nah, yo, we come together. No, fuck that. I can talk about my brother. You can't talk about my brother, right? Yeah,
right.
That is the shit that I love, man. And look, I don't know. I've been waiting a long time for this, folks. I've been waiting a real long time, and I think we have finally got a live action version of the Fantastic Four that I think is worthy of the importance of this family, of this franchise, man. I want to see these characters get their due, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if Reed got to get there too, fine, whatever.
He's in the movie. I do.
Yeah, he's in the movie.
I do think it's kind of interesting that they're not showing Reed's powers. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
They hold
it. I think you got to hold something, but I'm very curious to see how they do it, right? Because Reed's powers, they don't translate well, man. They really don't. Right?
They're hard to pull off and not look good.
They're very hard to pull off, and do the close stretch with it. Is it just his arm? it's weird, and they don't. Yeah, he can do some pretty, fantastic stuff with his powers, right? But it runs the risk of just taking you completely out of the movie, right? Like movies can do things like show a man flying and we buy it, right? Because like we know human beings can't fly, but like we kind of buy it. I think it might be difficult for people to kind of wrap their heads around, not wrap their heads around it, but like to give it a pass, especially if it looks weird, man. Like I'm thinking about those Tim Story movies, and I remember once where Mr. Fantastic was in like the bathroom or some shit, and he needed a toilet paper, and it was in the other room, and then the hand just kind of, and it was just kind of weird, yo. Like all right, yo,
it's very strange. I'm very interested to see what they do. I really am. Yeah, I think the heart and soul of this movie is once again going to be Johnny and Ben. Like you can't help but love their relationship because it's so adversarial at times, and then it's you mess with one of us, you mess with all, like it's like big brother little brother type of shit, right? Like that's very much their relationship. Johnny, especially in the Tim Story movies, Johnny is an absolute asshole, ridiculous young hothead, and Ben is like the commish, right? So he's like, hey, like knock it the fuck off. So it'll be interesting to see, like if they play the dynamics similarly here. I mean, that's kind of from the comics, like so. There's no reason not to do that.
I think we will focus. I think Johnny's going to be played as not less. I think he's going to be different from Chris Evans in that he will, like Chris Evans was kind of like a bit of a playboy.
Yeah.
And I think Johnny might just be a little bit of a fuck up. But I'm just, I don't know, but that's just what I'm feeling. And I think Ben will really focus on like, he's the mascot character, right? And I think they're really going to drill into the fact that like just from the one scene where he's looking at an old footage of him in his human form, and then the screen turns off and you just see the look in his eyes, where he's like, fuck yeah, like, yeah, this is what I am now. Like I have, like, he's such a tragic figure, yo. He's such a beautifully tragic figure, but he's like, he's the definition of, a gruff guy with a heart of gold, right? Yeah. And he's so tragic, but he doesn't let that shit fucking stand in his way. Like, man, I can't wait. I can't believe I was at one point before when this trailer was announced, I was a little apprehensive, man. Cause like, how many times I got to stick my finger in a socket before I realize, oh, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Right. Maybe I shouldn't get excited. Right. But, nah, man, this is it, man. I feel it. I can't wait to see the thing. I can't wait to hear him say it's clobbering time. I can't, I'm ready.
Look, so one of the things that some people have noticed is that when Rita's looking at the huge chalkboards, by the way, it's not by chance that the chalkboards are extremely long. Okay, like that is going to be a scene where he's going to be fucking doing shit.
Yeah,
like 100%, right? It's kind of a weird thing because like you still gotta be able to see it. Like your hand, like, it's like you still need to be able to see what you're writing. Guess you're gonna move your weird fucking creep head all the way down to the other side of the board. But on that board, there's clearly drawings of the multiverse. So he is also he's looking into the multiverse, which is interesting. You have a theory I want to talk about before we get out of here because we got to get out of here. Like,
so yeah, you and this is a perfect segue. You mentioned like he's thinking about like the multiverse, right? And I think, so Galactus is in this movie, and Galactus is his human form, right? And dope, right? Right, like embrace the goofiness, yo. Like, this is inherently silly. Like, embrace it, right? And I think that the movie, while it takes place in the 60s, I think a framing device that will be used is a point of view character telling someone about the Fantastic Four, right? Telling us about this movie. And I think that this movie, I think the Fantastic Four, because there's going to be like multiple villains in the movie, right? Like, like John Malkovich is playing what people presume to be the Red Ghost, which is like the Soviet version of Mr. Fantastic, who took like 3 orangutans or some shit up into space, so so that the 4 of them can get powers, right? But Galactus is going to be something
woman that from Emilia Perez is like, I knew it.
I think Galactus is going to be treated like accelerated climate change, basically. Like, he's coming, and the Fantastic Four have to figure out how to deal with this, right? And I think they realize that they won't be able to do it, right? Like we can't stop this guy. We can't stop this from happening. So I think that Reed, instead of trying to figure out how to stop Galactus, is trying to figure out how to save people and get them off of this world that is doomed, right? Like, it's the Krypton story, right?
Right.
And instead of sending a baby into a ship, I think he's going to try and figure out a way to travel to other dimensions, other time periods, in order to save as many people as he can. It'll probably be just his family. So I think Galactus will destroy this world, right? And because, like, it would be weird to just kind of have Galactus show up in the first movie, and then and then he's just, oh, well, here's the ultimate nullifier. Bam, you're gone, right? That'd be kind of weird, right? Especially if you want to establish Galactus as this gigantic
real
threat.
Right.
So I think that they realize they can't beat him. Reed figures out a way to to go into different dimensions and stuff like that, and that's how I think they take their first steps into the MCU proper. Yeah. And if you really want to get like crazy with it, right? Like, maybe a slightly aged up Franklin Richards is telling this story that has been told to him by his parents, right? Like, right, because I'm thinking like Franklin Richards is like a mutant, and he's the smartest. He's the offspring of one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. I'm thinking, if you're doing Secret Wars, I'm thinking he can be like, and it's like the 2015 Secret Wars. I'm thinking he can be like the Molecule Man stand-in, right? And I don't know. Look, whenever I'm really excited about stuff, I start doing this bullshit, right?
Yeah. Look, look, let me jump in on your theory a little bit before we get out of here. I love this theory that, in fact, Galactus destroys this planet, right? And they try to get off. They try to help everybody, but it turns out like they make a miscalculation or whatever, and they're the only ones who can get out, right? Something like that at the last moment, which is very similar to the incursion situation that happens in the 2015 Secret Wars, right? Like, very similar, right? They just get a bunch of heroes to get the fuck out of there. So all that being said, I'd like to think that at the same time that they're doing that, there's another person who also realizes what is going on. And that person sees what Reed is doing and understands what Reed is seeing as well. And he gets a miscalculation or a misunderstanding that Reed is only trying to save himself.
Yeah, and he's fleeing because Richards is a coward.
Because Richards is a coward, right? And at the end, the Fantastic Four leaves through the fucking wormhole or whatever the fuck to the MCU, but also so does this other person. And they have this grudge because they think that he abandoned all of these people to die in this world and he didn't give a fuck about them. And look, that person doesn't even have to be fully realized. He he could just be himself, right? At that point, or he could have powers. I mean, whatever. But Doom follows them into the MCU. And that is how Doom gets into the proper MCU. And that's his reason for hating Reed, is that he doomed these other planets. So his entire point when you get to Secret Wars or Doomsday or what have you, is you can't trust this guy because he let our entire universe die. Meanwhile, Reed is like, no, that's not what happened. And they have a legitimate fucking disagreement. So you can see Doom's perspective. That, like, from Doom's perspective, he's 100% right because those people did in fact die. And from Reed's perspective, which you'll know because you're watching the movie, is that he tried, but somehow it didn't work. Right? And that sets them up as pretty good enemies. And it also sets it up that an understanding can be met at some point when they do, like, on occasions become allies. Right? Like, so their hate for each other isn't so hard-grained that it's like it's impossible for them to become allies in moments.
Yeah, it's on sight, right? Like,
right. But like they don't fuck with each other, right? And then like Doom is like, well, you know, like I don't trust this guy to save the universe. He didn't do it the first time, and only I can save the universe. Thus your Doomsday thing. So, and by the way, you got to get Doom in a post-credit scene in Fantastic Four. There's some reference to him. You have to, because this is your, they court death, Thanos fucking turn around, look at the screen moment. You got to give Doom his moment. He doesn't have to be in the movie any other time. Just like have him watching TV or something like that. And you kind of run the whole movie through his perspective in that moment. And then he's like, he hops in a ship or whatever the fuck he does and he gets the fuck out of there. But then you're like, oh shit, that's who it is. Right? Like, you have to show his face. Show him the fucking the tunic, dude. Like the tunic and the fucking suit. And that would be enough. Like the suit from behind or some shit. Like if you just had like the metal helmet and him with the fucking, him with the cape and all the other shit. And as he's like walking out, he fucking puts the hood up or some shit like that. Nigga, you would lose your mind. You would lose your mind, yo.
I might cry. I might cry. I might legitimately weep. That's how excited I am for this, man.
I know.
I can't. Man, please. I showed the trailer to my son. I showed it to my son, and he seemed to be into it.
He was like,
and I'm like,
why they old? Is Sonic in this? Is this Sonic 4? No,
he was asking about the rock, man. He's like, is he made of rocks? And then I got to tell him about it and all that, man. And
that feels good.
And I was like, you want to see it? He was like, yeah, I want to see it. Yeah, because we're gonna go see Dog Man on Sunday. So I said, because that's I want to watch movies with him. Dog Man? Yeah, Dog Man. It's a movie about a cop with a canine unit, and he's just like this super cop, right? But something happens where he kind of like he dies, right? Like they're like, oh well, we can't save he and the dog are on the brink of death, and the doctors are like, well, we can't save the man's body or the man's head, and we can't save the dog's body. Let's just chop the dog's head off and put it on the man's body. That way, the dog will have the brain of a dog, but he'll have the body of a man.
Part dog, part man, all hero. Wow, I have not seen a trailer for this.
So yeah, we're gonna see Dog Man. I'll report back next week.
Please
on Dog Man.
Dog Man. Wow. All right. Enough of that. All right, that is it for us. We will see you guys next time.
See ya.